Anytime Trenton brings down Redwood Empire limited release bottles, I get excited, and it's going to be a good night here at the SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. I can promise you that.
Well, I think it was in the video that we did about the bourbons that we were hunting this year. And if I'm remembering correctly, even though I'm 27, and my mind isn't as sharp as it used to be. And I'm forgetting a lot of stuff.
You got a lot on
now.
your plate, dude.
A little bit.
A lot on your plate.
So I can't remember if I stated in that video that these were going to be something that I was looking for.
I think you did, because I think I remember you talking about the single malt, because that registered in my brain.
And that is interesting, because I don't remember talking about a single malt at all. But we were fortunate enough, my buddy Matt Fishman, he lives in California. He texted me, said, hey, I knew you guys might have been looking for these. They are available around me. Would you like me to send you one of each? I said, sure.
Okay.
So then I was sitting, working one day, or not working, whatever I was doing. I get a knock on my door, and FedEx is there. And that's not an uncommon occurrence for FedEx to come by.
Not at your house.
But I didn't order anything. So then he said he needed my license and everything. I signed it. I brought the package inside, opened it up. And there was it was the High Rye Bourbon. And it was a note from Elliot at Redwood Empire. So I guess he watched our video saying,
all right.
He said, heard you might be interested in trying this. So full disclosure, Redwood Empire did send us the High Rye Bourbon, not the single malt. This was provided by Matt Fishman. And he also did Matt sent us the High Rye Bourbon. So you get one, I get one.
Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. Thank you, Elliot, and thank you, Matt, for the help in trying to get these bottles here. That's fantastic. Thank you.
So I know you were doing a little bit of reading and stuff. Elliot sent me the flyer. I lost it. I think I might have thrown it out on accident, so I'm sorry. But
of course.
One thing I like is that just based on looking at the back, there is any information and then some that you could want to know about the sourcing and the age and anything else about these bottles.
Trenton, man, I've become a big fan of Redwood Empire. I love everything that they do. I've never been there. You know, it's been many years since I've even been in, probably since I was in my early 20s, since I've even been in California.
Really?
Oh, without a doubt. So I'd love to go there at some point. Hint, hint, barrel pick. Elliot.
Well, I heard that Redwood Empire was starting their barrel picks again this year. So if Elliot, you're watching and you want to hook us up,
yeah, buddy. But I the main reason right up front is I love transparency.
Yeah.
You know, I love companies that put everything on their label. Right here, we're going to start with this single malt, the Foggy Burl. Right on the front label, single malt whiskey, 100% malted barley, aged in toasted and char number 3 barrels, 27 barrels, 94 proof. This is batch 1, and there's all sorts of information too on the back here. I'm going to get into that, but you know, I love that. I really do. And when I did just a tiny bit of research after that, I found that they used 7 different types of barley in their malt here. So
wow.
I love that too. You know, they're kind of grain forward. You know, they're reminiscent of some other companies that are very grain forward. They try to do a lot of different things with the grain, which is pretty cool. American Single Malt, like I've said before, folks, Trenton keeps dragging me on and on about getting my American Single Malt videos out there. We're going to do a couple of them, kind of like...
Wait, I'm doing it. What are you talking about?
You always say, can't do this week because I've got a couple things we're going to do.
Well, you mean you're welcome. We came out with some bangers today. So.
You did. But it's coming, trust me, and it's a huge deal. I mean, look, Redwood Empire, they're coming out with a single malt. So I love that. I really do. I really think that's fantastic. I love these companies coming out with malts. It's kind of my alley. It might not be up for everybody, you know, but it is for me personally. So we're going to start with that, Trenton. I mean, I have to ask you, though, as we get ready to sip this particular bottle here, how much was it?
I think if I'm remembering correctly, the single malt was $99.99, and I think the High Rye Bourbon was $89.99.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, at least everybody that's watching, it gives you a little bit of an idea. And we'll discuss at the end price points after we're done tasting, and we'll give you guys our opinion on that.
Well, and I mean, before we start with the review and everything, we always like to say this just in case. Just because Redwood Empire was kind enough to send us a bottle for us to review doesn't mean we're gonna preach it and say it's the best thing since sliced bread.
No.
We're gonna actually tell you how it is and if we recommend it or not. So
yep.
This is gonna be a weird note because I've been nosing this a little bit while you've been talking.
A little aroma's going on there. I really like it.
I really like Dunkin' Donuts. They have this chocolate Long John. It's not a filled thing. You don't fill donuts with anything. It's awful. You can't have a cream-filled jelly.
Oh, I 100% disagree.
No. Yeah, I'm sure you do.
You got to have some of that vanilla icing fluff in there or something like that going on. Oh, yeah.
That's horrible.
Without question. And some of the other ones I found, too, they got some, like, chocolate on the top with the icing and then peanut butter filling in there, too.
If the ratio of peanut butter filling to the donut is good, yes. But this smells to me like a yeasty chocolate Long John with a little bit of, like, instead of the sprinkles, you put some grass on top. It's a little bit earthy. It has some.
It does. It is.
And I'm just getting into American single malts and single malts in general that aren't peated and those types of things. So what I'm saying, take it with a grain of salt. I probably don't know what I'm talking about with single malts. I'm just telling you what I'm smelling, and it's a donut with grass.
No, I love it, Trenton, and you're not that far off the beaten path. It is a tiny bit earthy. There is a chocolatey note in there for sure, and there's a beautiful kind of developed malt note in there, and that's what you're getting when you get a little bit into that chocolate type too.
Well, now I
like it.
You're saying, you said something about a peanut butter filling, and now I'm smelling peanut butter. So
there you go.
What's the proof on this? Did we say? Is there an age statement or a proof on it?
It's 94 proof.
94 proof. Okay.
I don't know. It may say in the back an age statement. I didn't see one in the front. So
it smells really good.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh, I love it.
Do you?
Yes, I do. Whew. A little cinnamon. You got a little cinnamon up front.
That's a good note.
That barley, that developed barley note, what Trent was talking about there with that chocolate Long John. I mean, everything you're kind of smelling in the aromas, minus the cinnamon. I didn't get much of the cinnamon in the aromas.
I didn't get any
at all. But boy, that kind of came right front in the front of the palate for me. And then it went right into those notes you were talking about, a little bit chocolatey, that really nice developed malt note in there. I love that.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. When I drink a single malt, it's usually some kind of wine finish, a sherry wine, a Cabernet, like that kind of thing, whatever else they finish single malts in.
Right.
So I was a little bit concerned not seeing that on the bottle because I wasn't sure if it was going to necessarily jive with my preferred profile of a single malt.
Sure. Yeah.
But the chocolate in this,
it's lovely.
This reminds me of how Free Ranch, they try to be a little bit more grain forward because they have, what you said, 7?
That's what I saw. Yeah, 7 different types of barley in their malt here.
It's pretty grain forward, but it's layered with this nice chocolatey blanket almost.
But it's not a raw grain. That's what I'm mentioning when I say a developed malt note. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not raw. It's not real crafty. It's nothing like that. It's just a nice developed malt note there. And Trenton's 100% right. So with American single malts, you can age in all kinds of different casks. And some of his favorite, Westward, they're well known for their sherry casks. The Cedar Ridge he's talking about over there is their wine cask. Their wine cask special release type stuff there. And that's his jam per se, because it is jammy and there's a lot of different notes there. This, however, is not even aged in, from my understanding, from what I read, Trenton, it's not even aged in any kind of ex-bourbon casks either. This is, to me, what it reads to me is it's aged in virgin, toasted, and char number 3 barrels. So I think a little bit of that flavor that you're enjoying right now, because you are a big fan of toasted bourbons and ryes, there's a little bit of hint of toastiness there too, coming from that, from the toasted barrels.
It's almost a little bit bitter too, like when you have a darker like a dark chocolate instead of this milk chocolate, stuff that they do. But it's a little bit bitter. I don't know if that's from the char and the toast, the combination of the two, or what. But it's nice. Yeah, I do like it.
I enjoy it. I enjoy that greatly. It's a real nice piece to the somewhat limited collection of American single malts I have right now, because of what we just spoke about in the aging process with the virgin casks.
Yeah, it's really good. So much so that I actually finished my entire glass. So
wow,
there's something, I honestly think it's the chocolate. I'd be curious to see what kind of malts they put in there. If it's a chocolate malt that's giving it that, or what. Hard Truth did a couple of chocolate malt ryes, and they were delicious.
All right. All right, buddy, what do we have with this one here? Coming up, this high rye bourbon. And I saw the front of that label, dude. They're not lying when they say high rye bourbon.
No, well, I love the label. I don't know who designed this, but the artwork and stuff.
Always
is
fantastic. Really Redwood Empire.
This was, I'll just read the front so I don't pronounce whatever. 2% malt, 45% rye, 51% corn, and 2% wheat. So this is a high rye.
High rye. Yeah, it's kind of unusual. From my memory, I can't pull a comparison on that. You know, a lot of your high rye bourbons that they say is high rye is usually in the high 20% of rye. You know, not 45. So it's basically barely a bourbon at 51% corn.
Yeah, so they went out on a limb of the redwood tree on this one.
I love that though. You know, they're kind of walking outside the box, man. I like that.
What is going on there? We did open these, and this has been opening up for quite some time, maybe 20, 30 minutes. But,
yeah, sure.
I just spilled it.
I've got to educate him in the finesse of the roll.
Yeah, we need to make a crank or something with the bingo spinny doodads. Just take that and put a glass on it so you get the even distribution of the liquid.
Sure.
This is bubble gummy.
Yeah, it is. There's a sweetness up front, and I knew Trenton was going to go down this road because that's his nature. That's what he usually associates. I was going to go candy-ish.
Well,
but bubblegum, that's another one for sure.
And I don't know if this is the type of stuff that other people could relate to, but when I was in 7th grade, I was dared to snort a pixie stick and crush up some Smarties and then snort the Smarties.
You did.
And I did.
You did. Of course you did.
And I cried afterwards because it hurt a lot.
Probably deserved it.
It's reminding me of that experience, but in a good way. I'm not going to drink this and cry, right? But it's dusty. It's kind of this mishmash of fruits.
Yes.
If you see the Fruit of the Loom logo and you were to condense those flavors into a thing with some bubble gum on top,
only he can come up with nosy aromas as Fruit of the Loom.
I feel
why not?
Does Fruit of the Loom only make underwear? I feel like that makes its way into the conversation.
No, T-shirts,
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Good grief.
It's nice. It's a little bit rye spicy on the nose too. So that doesn't
characteristic of the rye coming through on the nose too a little bit. Tiny bit herbal for me too, just a little bit.
Ooh, I could see that. I'm not the best cook, so I'll go in the spice cabinet and just toss in herbs that belong nowhere near each other. And it usually doesn't turn out good, but it's kind of reminding me of some of the cooking stuff.
When you're cooking, you got to fail to learn. That's the way it goes.
I've always failed.
You just got to have no fear. You don't have no fear. I know that.
No, I don't.
That's how you learn.
Whoa.
Wow.
I don't even know how to describe that.
Yeah, no, that's something that you don't taste often, if at all. To me, Trent, it's reminiscent a little bit of a boo rye. However, this is not a boo rye. This is a bourbon, but it's reminiscent a touch of a boo rye where there's rye and bourbon that are blended together. It's
I almost want to say it reminds me of a blueberry. It's blueberry-ish. It is high rye. You get the rye, but it's this spearminty or some kind of quintessential rye spearmint or mintiness that you get from this. But it also has the fruity note carries into it. It's not as complex. It's not as deep, I think, for the fruit as it is on the nose.
Agreed.
But it's like this blueberry minty harmonious marriage.
Okay. That's what I was kind of searching for, because it is extremely unusual than a typical bourbon sip. You're not going to get, the caramels, the brown sugars, any molasses, any rich oak in there. You're not getting that. Getting that. It's not what it is. I'm sipping it, and I'm trying in my brain to associate tasting notes and things like that, but it's just a little bit unusual for me. But however, like Trenton said, it's extremely well balanced too. This is something I could really spend some time with to really discover different characteristics of that whiskey, honestly.
What I like, and don't get me wrong, I haven't been drinking for nearly as long as some people have, but we've been fortunate enough to be in the position we're in to review several different types of spirits and a lot of different stuff. What I love is tasting something and being like actually taken back by it, like what is going on here. This is something I think that if you're an experienced bourbon person, this is something that I think, like you said, would make you sit down and really kind of think about what you're tasting. Because I still don't have, I'm like mint and blueberry, that's about it.
Yeah.
But like there's some other stuff happening in there.
Oh, without question.
That I want to know more about.
There's still a little bit of herbalness that I pick up in there. I will say this, even at 99 proof.
94.
No,
99, yeah. Sorry,
this one's 94, this one's 99. Even at 99 proof, and I know when we first brought these down, we put them up, Trent was just a tiny bit disappointed that it wasn't more in that 110 to 120 proof range.
I usually am.
And I get that. And there's a lot of folks like that. Me personally, I wasn't disappointed. I wasn't. But even at that 99 proof level, you still get that rye tingle on the tongue. You get that bite. So if you're the type of person that's out there and you're struggling with rye whiskeys, you're trying a few and it's just not seem to be your game. You know, you're really more of a traditional bourbon fan. This may not be your bottle. If you're like Trenton and you're all over the ryes and you don't mind the high rye, and this is fantastic. It really is. But it may not be for everyone.
What I will say, in an industry right now where a lot of stuff is sourced from MGP and a lot of similar mash bills, similar profiles and everything, this is honestly like a breath of fresh air. It's different, it's unique. I like the direction that they went, and it's something that I honestly, I mean, I did buy one was sent to us, but I'm glad that I did buy it because it's very good. And
I can certainly appreciate them, walking outside the box. They're outside the box with this.
I hope we see more of that this year. Yeah. I really do. Stuff like this.
Yeah, hey, I give it all the credit in the world. It's now. What'd you say? It is $90 for this one.
$89.99. Yep.
Okay, what do you think of the price point on that? We'll get back to the single malt in a minute.
For something that if this was just like a standard MGP profile and it was $90, and I don't know if there's an age statement on here. I think there was something about 5 years old, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, sure. I didn't see that, but I'm sure.
I would be disappointed in the price point, especially for the proof. Okay. But because this is a grain to glass situation, and they went like on this tremendous limb to do this kind of out of the box mash bill, and it's delivering the flavor that it is, I personally would be happy to buy another one. Yeah. I would be interested to try something like exactly like this, a little higher proof. As a fan of a rye, when I like that rye bite. Yeah. I know for you not being as much of a rye fan, if it were to be a little bit higher proof, you might not enjoy it as much because that rye kick might come and you soccer punch it from out of nowhere.
Right.
Sucker punch? Sucker punch, yes.
For me, Trent, and I'm okay with the price too because of everything you just said. I'm going to reiterate very quickly, though, buyer beware. Just make sure this is something you might enjoy because of the high rye. If you're not a rye guy at all, it may not be your bottle. But for me, I have all the respect in the world for what they did here. I think it's a great type of a limited release. I really do.
Yeah. Don't go buying this thinking you're going to get quintessential bourbon like Wild Turkey or Four Roses.
Not going to.
It's not even close.
No.
It's the opposite in a great way, and I'm happy to have one.
All right, now I know you have probably some limited response to the single malt, but what do you think for $100 here for this particular single malt, the Foggy Burl? I love that name too.
I don't know enough about single malts, I think, to make a full distinction. Would I, having tasted this, go out and buy another one for $100? If I saw it for maybe 70 or 80, absolutely. Yeah. Getting up there at $100, maybe not. Yeah. Right. For me, not being a single malt fan, maybe not be my cup of tea for a price point, but I do certainly enjoy it. I think it's good. I would have several more pours of it.
I think this is an extremely nice effort. Do you know of any other single malt that Redwood Empire has put out? I do not know.
That's a
I
good
don't
question.
think so.
I think this might be their first one.
I think so. If not, correct us please in the comments. But I think this is a fantastic first release of an American single malt. I really do. And in Trenton's, supporting his statement that he just made, I think this is a bottle for $100. You need to be someone that purchases it that enjoys the malt factor.
Yeah, for real.
Because you don't get all the sweetness and everything that's involved with either sherry, wine casks, or ex-bourbon casks. Yeah. These are virgin casks, toasted and charred. So, you're not going to get a lot of those sweet notes that you usually enjoy from what you've tried so far and have liked. Yeah. In American single malt. For me personally, somebody who enjoys this, I think it's fantastic. I like it a lot. $100 to me is just but I understand why they have to charge that for this bottle. It takes a lot for them to there's 7 different barley grains in here that's malted. It takes a lot to get this done.
I bet it does.
But I still think it's a great offering. Yeah. I really do.
If you are able to try one of these, if you've already had one, I know that's making its rounds in a couple different states and stuff. I've seen pictures of it floating around. If you've had either one of these, this one, both of them, and let us know what you think in the comments. I'd be interested to think what other people
always think. Interesting. You guys never fail us either.
No.
Y'all never fail us. You always give your opinions. We had some heated discussions concerning the Traveler whiskey, which I appreciated greatly.
That was a great comment section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. Yeah. So thank you all for everything you do for this channel. We greatly appreciate it. We really do. All right. As always, we ask you to please drink responsibly. We'll see you next time right down here with Trent and I. Now, I don't know Trenton. I know he expected me to go right into the basement bourbon bar thing, but I think this blind on Friday may have the Traveler whiskey involved in it with some other budgets out there. What do you think?
I think so. There were a lot of comments and suggestions. Yeah. Different celebrity whiskeys and bourbons. Okay. Different comparison products and things like that. So I'm going to leave that up to you.
Here we go now.
To come up with a lineup. And
all right.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy that greatly. All right, guys. We'll see you next time right down here with Trent and me in a good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.